Thank you for joining me today in a new episode of Ancestral Healing with Alida. I've been having some technical issues with Microsoft, Google, with my computer, and I think that I figured it out, so now I can start recording again. Today we are going to talk about acceptance. Acceptance from every single angle. Acceptance when I accept my life, acceptance of who I am, who am I, acceptance of my parents, acceptance of different situations, and how every single time that we accept or reject something is linked basically to something connected to our inner child. That's something that happens within our childhood that create a program for us to reject something that is similar of what we rejected back in the day. So now as an adult, we keep rejecting the same things. So now I made, I think that is a very nice presentation. So I'm going to try to share my screen, and hopefully everything is going to go well and you can see my screen. I don't know how to put this screen in. I don't know how to put it in every to change every single thing of this. So now I'm gonna try to do it again. Let's see. I'm adjusting to technology. All right. So the title, the subject for today, as I told you, is going to be Acceptance and Ancestral Healing, the Path to Unconditional Happiness and Love. And let's begin with said that acceptance is a beautiful key that we all have to open our hearts. From my perspective, every single disease or every single imbalance comes from a problem in our heart chakra, with a sensation of being loved or to give love. So when we create acceptance or when we feel acceptance in our lives, we can be completely happy and we can feel love as well. Acceptance helps us to embrace life as it is, because when I try to don't accept something, when I try to reject some situations, I cannot live fully, because I'm always saying, and why did this happen? Why did this, it didn't go the other way that I thought that it would be going? So there is always this issue, right? I'm gonna now move to the next one. I think that if it goes well, I'm gonna keep sharing. I hope that this is gonna work. So again, when we accept, like basically if I tell you you are at the beach and there's no sun, you bought your plane ticket to Aruba and it's pouring rain, it's not sunny. The question is, would you be upset because of that and saying like, oh, I can't believe it's not sunny. Why I didn't book plane tickets to go to Florida? Why I didn't go to Peru? Why I didn't go to Costa Rica? Or you will just say like, okay, this is what it is now. I'm going to do the best that I can with this situation. And let me tell you that I have had many opportunities in my life when I haven't accepted things. The first one that I recall, and it makes me even a little bit emotional maybe, is back in 2000. So I got married 2009. It was 2011 or 2010, 12. I was having a hard time in my relationship with my father. And I knew one of my main reasons is because he was dating someone that I didn't want him to be dating since 2006 or 2007. And he didn't show up to my wedding day. Well, he needed to go to another place, but I was like mad, I was sad, I was upset. So it was 2012 or 2011, and I go to my Facebook. It was the beginning of Facebook, right? And I saw that his partner, she made a publication of the baptism of his new daughter. First, that he didn't tell me anything about it. He didn't tell me that, he didn't say anything like, she's pregnant, nothing. But the other thing is that when I was 10 years old or 11 years old, I remember that he told me, I'm not gonna have another daughter. If I get married or something, I'm not gonna have another daughter. You're gonna be the last one because I'm gonna love you the most. Of course, at that time I wasn't 10. I was 28 or 29. But it hurt me so much that I made a huge mess out of it. I sent him an email. Well, in that picture that I saw on Facebook, I saw my dad and the partner, and my sister, my older sister, and my niece and my older brother. So they all knew except for me. But I didn't take any responsibility about it. So why my dad will tell every single of my other siblings about it and not to me? It was because he knew that I would get mad, right? So I didn't accept it, and I just came to accept that my father had his own life and his own choices in 2019 or 2020. Like, it was so hard for me to understand that part of my dad's life, and I wasn't happy. I was completely unhappy because it was my choice. And again, once I accepted, it's a release. I release my soul. I release myself of expectations. I release myself of being the victim. I release myself of not loving someone that maybe will show me a lot of love, right? So we're going to move to the second screen the other screen that I have. And when we accept, we have to say yes, not verbally, but in your mind, in your soul, right? And one key word that helps us transition toward a happy life is yes. And the yes is acceptance, correct? I say yes to my mother, and I say yes to my father. I say yes to my husband because I chose him. We chose each other. I say yes to the weather. I say yes to the new president because I cannot change those things. So I want to read this. Saying yes opens doors to new possibilities, allowing us to love fully and embrace life's journey. It leads us to acceptance, the art of embracing everything as it was and as it is, even when it is difficult. This process of acceptance is not always easy. Saying yes to life, with all its challenges and beauty, is the first step toward profound transformation. Because if I don't accept and I don't say yes, that means that I'm lacking something. And when you lack of something, you are not complete. So what is the message that I'm sending to the universe if I'm not accepting? I'm not complete. I wasn't complete when I was 4. I wasn't complete when I was 12. I wasn't complete when I was 20. And my life is incomplete. So the universe won't provide me with what I think that is necessary for me. Um, in the next slide, we are gonna see how acceptance towards our parents is so important. And I want you to stay with me because acceptance towards your parents doesn't mean that you agree with situations that are morally incorrect, that are abusive, or any like that. It's just acceptance from my soul, not from my conscious mind, from my soul that this is my mother and this is my father. Acceptance begins with a simple yes toward our parents. Through them, we receive the gift of life. And how is it possible that I'm 42 years old and I cannot accept that I have one mother and one father? And some people will say, oh yeah, but my mother left me. My father left. My father was abusive. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was a prostitute. Yes, those are stories. Those are facts, right? But is it true that you came from a mother and a father? And you cannot tell me no. As simple as that. You have a mother and a father, a biological mother and a biological father. And they gave you life. And life means your physical health, your mental health, your aspirations, your success, your abundance. All of that is life, right? Your struggles as well. When I accept my parents, so I say like, yes, this is my mother, this is my father. I don't have any other. I accept life as it is. And I project that to the universe. Saying yes to our parents means embracing their love, as well as the love of our entire lineage that flows through them. So if I tell you I grew up since I was 7 with with my grandmothers, my mom's mom. If I would be not accepting my mom like I used to, there were times when I wasn't accepting my mom. Even now, sometimes there are things that it's hard for me to accept, but I try. How am I going to accept my grandparents if my parents are the connection with my grandparents? If my grandparents are the connection with my great grandparents? Everything is connected, right? You cannot skip a person or a generation. This acceptance goes beyond any difficult circumstances, recognizing the full spectrum of their presence in our lives. When I say yes to my parents, I say yes to life. And this is very important. You want to be healthier, you want to have peace of mind, you want to be a better mother, a better father. Start working and trying to say yes to your parents. That's an advice because I have lived, and up until now, I have been living some situations that it's hard for me to say yes, but it's necessary. It's necessary because we cannot be unhappy all the time, right? You know that when you are unhappy or when you are sad or when you have fear, those are the lowest vibrations in the scale of frequencies. So I like this part. It started getting better. When does love start manifesting in our life? The main source of love for us is our parents. Besides the stories behind them. You know why? Because our soul knows that when you create or when you become a parent, for every single child that you have, you start accumulating more karma. So the soul of our parents made themselves available to create a new life that is us. And say like, okay, I'm gonna pay karma for this new child, but I wanna have this child with me. This is unconsciously. And that's the biggest demonstration of love. If we don't accept our parents, we don't accept love. If we don't accept love from the source, love of our life, the love that comes with our life itself, how are we going to have a healthy relationship? How are we going to love unconditionally to our kids? When I say yes to my mother, I'm not just embracing her. I'm opening myself to healthy relationships, to love my career, my relationships, my partner, my physical well-being, financial abundance, success, and good connections with my children. When I say yes to my father, I welcome opportunities to grow in my career, to mental health, the strength to go for my dreams, to make them possible, to write down a project and make it happen. personal happiness and personal fulfillment is very linked to the acceptance to our parents. So it's not only that I am unconsciously saying like, look, I didn't like the way that you treated me when I was 4. I didn't want you to leave my mother. I didn't want to see you beating up my mom when I was little. I didn't want you to be drunk. I didn't want my mom to hit me with a belt. All the things. Those things are difficult, but those things happen after they gave you life, right? So here I'm going to read this part. On an unconscious level, our parents' souls chose to transcend their own personal experiences and gave us the gift of life. When we accept them, we move beyond our own individual experiences and stories and limitations, because the source, the energy that created us, is bigger than our personal experiences. We came from a source, if you believe that, but I don't, that is the universal source of everything, right? It transcends my personal experience. When I accept my life, I accept my parents, and then I accept my life, I accept my chi, my energy, the good things. It's connected to everything that is good for me. By honoring our parents, we honor the greater flow of life that connects us all, going beyond personal struggles to align with the universal energy that sustains us. And you remember that I told you that the biggest demonstration of love comes from our parents' souls. They decide to be together to create us. Because that's truth, because if you are listening to this, you are here, right? You are experiencing your life. And me too. So a lot of mothers, they die when they give birth. A lot of them. Our mother, and I always say this when I do classes, our mother didn't know if they will survive the pregnancy or the birth, but they took the risk, even though if the mother gave in adoption to the child. They took the chance. And that's the greatest demonstration of love. When we accept that first love of our mother, I can find a good partner. When I put it inside my soul and fulfills all of my being and say like, thank you, mom. Gracias. Thank you. Because of you, I'm living now. This act alone speaks volumes about the depth of the love of our mothers, of my mother, besides the difficulties, besides the story that I needed to have. I how can I say rejected? I rejected a lot of aspects of my mother. When I got pregnant, I rejected her more because when you get pregnant, you have the chance to relive again the type of mother that you had, right? The motherhood of your mother. And I couldn't believe that she couldn't nurse me, that she couldn't learn more and read more to be able to nurse me, that she couldn't have a vaginal birth, that she couldn't not follow the medical procedures. And in my necessity to prove me right, and in my necessity now to do the things the right way, right? Because she did it all wrong. And that's what I'm suffering now in my life. I did all of the things. I nurse. I gave birth in my house, all the things. But it created tension in me, in my soul. It could have been more smoothly if I did the same, but if I should have accepted my mom before. So acceptance comes with liberation, right? Acceptance is liberating us of something that is been dragging us and bothering us to us. It's like if someone, when you are talking in the phone and your kid or someone is talking next to you and you cannot hear very well, you cannot be fully present in your life. Love is love. We often forget how many times our mother gave us love. And I go back besides the difficulties, our mother depends of how long you stay with your mother, but at least they nurse you or they give you a bottle. They did the best that they could, right? And we have to learn to release the pain of our childhood. And that doesn't mean that I delete and erase everything that happened in my childhood, that it was traumatized, that it was painful, that it made me upset. Is that I live the pain with a 4-year-old or with a 7-year-old, and from my adult, I work with my inner child, because my inner child is part of me. We are one soul. But my inner child should come to me to play, to make me playful, creative, to make jokes. That's my inner child, right? But I'm living as a 42. I see my inner child. But if I'm living my life as a 4-year-old, trying to get a partner, trying to get a nice job, trying to get a house, I won't be able, because a 4-year-old cannot access to those things. So a lot of limitations that we have, monetary, well, with finances, with different things, are coming because we are not living as the age of as an adult. It's impossible that the universe will respond to you and give you something when you are too little. Um, there's one more thing. A child's soul loves their parents unconditionally. And this is not in your conscious mind when you were 2, 3, 4, 13. No. A child loves their parents unconditionally just by the fact that they are their parents. And every single child wants to have the happy family. Even if you have a stepmother or a stepfather, you always want to have the happy family with both of your parents. And when we reject them, we reject love. We deny love. And the love that we have for them is part of us. So every time I say, no, I don't love my mom, I don't love my father, I'm rejecting them. I'm rejecting a part of me, because I'm part of them. I'm rejecting the love that is going to come to me, because I'm rejecting that love. So let's pay attention to the way that we express, the way that we talk, the way that we think. There are different little dynamics that we can do to release that anger, to release that frustration, to release that upset child that is with us now, living vividly with us, that doesn't allow me to be an adult. Um, our adult dreams are connected to how much I love and how much I accept my parents. And when I say yes to my parents, and I say yes as an adult, I'm embracing my personal realization and my spiritual growth. You cannot, if you're, and this is an example that I'm making, if you make a recipe, you cannot skip step 1 and 2 and move to step 5 and just bake the cake without mixing the butter with the flour. You cannot do that. It would be like, you will say, like, oh, are you crazy? How are you going to have a delicious cake without the first 2 steps? Well, that's what we try to do. We try to be these adults that are very successful, happy in life, but we haven't figured out our childhood. We haven't figured out the beginning, our origins. Those are parents. When we say yes to our parents, the universe begins to say yes to us, opening the doors to our adult dreams and aspirations. That's the only way. That's the only way that it could be. And that's the only way that is going to be. And I'm going to now give you a dynamic that is a very short dynamic. I think that is doable. Anyone can do it if you really want to do it. And it's a dynamic to work for 21 days. You can use the pictures of your parents. If you don't have their pictures, you can get magazine pictures, or you can put crystals. One crystal is going to represent your mother, and the other crystal is going to represent your father. And for 21 days, you're going to look at the crystal, the picture of your parents, for 5 minutes without talking. And then after those 5 minutes, you are going to say, Mom, I say yes to everything the way it was. And the same, you can say that I say yes to everything the way it was. And and you can do this for 21 days, and then um, you will experience maybe some dreams or some downloads or something that will let you know that you are releasing and you are opening your heart and that you are moving forward to be a complete adult. So this was all for today. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget that I have my Instagram, that is Ayamama Alida, the same as my Facebook. And I have my website, that is ayamama.org. I give sessions online, but also in person in Massachusetts. And I hope that you have a beautiful day. And I have new candles for ancestral healing, that they are all on my website. Thank you.